What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai, an extension of Anime Senpai PH channel. All pieces of information are derived from the light novel. In today's video, we will continue chapter 2, volume 8 of the light novel, entitled The Invitees. This video is the 6th part of chapter 2 in our Tensura spoiler video series. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, feel free to check out the links in the description below. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Now, let's get to the video. The merchant sighed to himself. There was no way in this lifetime that he'd ever accept such a hazardous proposal.
Yes, indeed, my good Viscount, you have a discerning eye. I must take my hat off to your wisdom. However, regarding the slaves you mention, I fear it may be difficult to procure them at this time, would it not? Human trafficking is banned in this kingdom, and even if you turn to the illegal trade, I fear you may not find the quality you are looking for, you see.
He tried his best to make his rejection sound as inoffensive as possible. It didn't work.
Well, about that. I actually have an in. I'll tell you about it, too, if you're willing to invest. But you know, I have to keep this discreet. All I'll say for now is that there's a certain elf in the picture.
The way Kazak never missed an opportunity to put on airs rankled Mjolmile, but he had the willpower to retain his composure. A master merchant like him could never physically reveal his disdain for his customers. Anyone who did was below third rate in this trade and incapable of ever pinning down a large-scale deal. But this elf slave talk piqued Mjolmile's interest. If he was telling the truth, that was beyond a luxury commodity. But even before that, Mjolmile was a man with some influence in the underground, running a not-so-legal outfit and not afraid to engage in some dirty work now and again, albeit no more than he knew he could get away with. That was why he instructed his staff in this outfit to never stray past that one final line in their work, even though he knew he'd get off scot-free as their boss either way. Mjolmile knew full well just how dangerous elven slaves were. An elf? Only serious organized crime would get mixed up in that. Elves were exceptionally long-lived. Many boasted mesmerizing beauty, they were intelligent, and most of them were well-versed in magic. If an elf had been enslaved, it must have taken some extremely underhanded means. Enslaving an elven citizen of the kingdom was impossible, so did they find one hiding in the forest, or? Mjolmile had an idea what this could be. He had heard about monster hunts, where rich people seeking exotic pets hired hunters to capture monsters in the forest. But if a demi-human had been snared by one of these hunters, and an elf, no less, quite a few nations would never let that go by without comment. The Dwarven Kingdom would immediately look into it, and the sorceress dynasty of Thalion was even ruled by an elf. If word of this got out, it'd be a huge controversy. This wasn't a small-time pickpocket or fraud. It was the kind of thing that could trigger an international standoff. If he was dealing with a noble with no qualms about sticking his hand into the fire like this, there had to be something backing him up. Something huge, fearsome, and not afraid to kill for profit. Mjolmile's nose told him that getting involved would be dangerous. His mind raced, thinking of a good excuse to turn down Kazak's offer. He came up with nothing. But just as he was at his wit's end,
Molly, doing well?
Someone opened the door and stepped right into their meeting, a beautiful young girl, or boy, with golden eyes and silver hair that had a tinge of blue.
Who are you, and how dare you interrupt my important business meeting?
As Kazak bellowed at the boy, Mjolmile realized who the intruder was, stunned. There was no way Mjolmile could forget that face, the face of the champion who'd saved his life, the demon lord Rimuru himself. Mjolmile knew this was the leader of that nation of monsters, and hearing Rimuru had become a demon lord shocked Mjolmile to the core. But Rimuru really did it. He was part of the Octagram, recognized by his fellow demon lords, and for some reason, Rimuru seemed to take a liking to Mjolmile. They'd often meet up, occasionally working together on potential new business ventures. Recovery potion sales, for example. Mjolmile was still the exclusive vendor around here, and Rimuru was now earning stable profits from his work. Just as things settled down with that, Rimuru approached Mjolmile about developing a new type of food, ramen, brought in from his own world. This was already on sale in a handful of restaurants, and the feedback was encouraging so far. Now, more recently, Rimuru had Myeolmile taste test something called a burger. Talking about building a chain of restaurants specializing in their production and sale. Myeolmile had agreed to test the concept, and right now he was busy assembling and educating a staff, as well as finding a location and outfitting it with everything needed. Myeolmile had wanted to report back to Rimuru about his progress, but his demon lord duties kept him fiendishly busy. It had been about a month since they last spoke.
Well, if it isn't Rimuru, I thought you said you were too caught up in this or that crisis to come visit.
Myeolmile, surprised at this sudden appearance, couldn't help but ask. After all, Rimuru had a thundering horde of crusaders to deal with at the moment. He even advised the merchant to avoid Tempest for a while, as it'd be too dangerous for him. Fuse, guild master for the Kingdom of Bloomond, was still cursing himself over his failure to stop Hinata, the saint. So why was the Lord himself here? All these thoughts immediately pushed Viscount Kazakh out of Myeolmile's mind.
Stop! Please, stop! The master is seeing another visitor.
He could hear the voice of one of his servants, someone too new to know who Rimuru was. Upon catching sight of him, the servant stopped in his tracks and just stared at him, slack-jawed. It was a rather pathetic sight to see, but Myeolmile couldn't blame him, since he himself might be doing the same if he didn't stop himself. It was fine if they were talking or scheming over something, but when Rimuru was his normal self, he was just so touchingly attractive, a completely different person.
Rimuru, you said?
Myeolmile ignored Kazakh. Rimuru, finally noticing him, gave him an awkward look.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were busy. I'll be waiting over at your manor, alright? See you.
The sound of Rimuru's voice brought Myeolmile abruptly back to consciousness. He began to feel honest pity for Kazakh, the Viscount who told a demon lord, "How dare you," to his face. If Rimuru wasn't so easygoing, I doubt the Viscount would be breathing right now. What you don't know can't hurt you, as they say, although Myeolmile wondered if he should make an exception at the moment. But Kazakh spoke up again, his voice raised.
Look, you little boy. Or girl. What are you? Myeolmile's mistress or the like? Do you realize you've both interrupted my meeting and listened in on confidential information? Do you understand the consequences of your indiscretion,
Oh, by the gods, what is he saying? Myeolmile, seeing Kazakh eye Rimuru up and down with lecherous intent, could feel his heart stop.
Oh, I apologize about that, sir. Nobody stopped me from barging in, so sorry.
Rimuru was cheerfully apologetic, but Kazakh was too high-handed to forgive him.
You know, I like your face. Look, you could use a little instruction on how the world works, I'd say. How would you like me to look after you?
Great. And now this. Why do I have to deal with these utter fools, day in, day out? Myeolmile was beyond exasperated and well into the realm of anger. Life seemed too ridiculous to be worth it at the moment. He could handle the scorn of Bush League nobility. But treating Rimuru, a man he owed a life debt to, like some harlot was unforgivable. Kazakh's behavior had crossed the line and then some. Yes, picking a fight with a noble would put Myeolmile at a disadvantage, in the eyes of the law, but did that mean he should just sit there and take it? No, he was willing to be modest with rabble like this because it'd be a pain for him otherwise. But open hostility deserved to be treated in kind. The merchant steeled himself.
Kazakh, you are being rude to the individual who saved my life. Why does some Viscount think he can get away with riling me?
What?
There will be no more business between us. I don't want to see you in here begging me for anything again.
How dare you? A merchant, rebelling against nobility. Myeolmile, have you gone mad?
Anyone willing to work with criminal groups and trigger cross-border crises is nothing but trouble to me. You're liable to bring those kind to this city, too. Better to stamp out that pestilence before it can happen, I'd say.
Myeolmile, after all the favors I've done for you, I'll make sure you regret this.
With that, Kazakh stormed out of the office, spotting the servants who had come in to see what the racket was about and figuring now was a good time to leave.
This child, thinking he rules the world.
Molly, you sure you're okay with riling that guy?
Rimuru, meanwhile, was as breezy as always. He really is like nothing on this world, Myeolmile thought as he relaxed. It's just as I thought when I heard of his ascension. He never changes. Myeolmile then dismissed all the other potential clients in his waiting room. In this world, there were certain opportunities you couldn't afford to miss. Mjolmile wasn't foolish enough to misread the truly important things. He was a capable merchant, and he understood the importance of finding diamonds in the rough. But he also knew that some things were vital enough to abandon everything else for. And really, Mjolmile couldn't find it in himself to make Rimuru wait any longer. Not because Rimuru was a preferred, profit-making customer of his. Mjolmile knew Rimuru helped him out in his time of greatest need, and Mjolmile thus felt an obligation to never betray him. To Mjolmile, there was no such thing as a job more important than dealing with Rimuru. Has he come up with another scheme? Mjolmile thought, growing excited as he instructed his staff to handle all other pressing matters for him. But in just a few moments, Mjolmile's frustrating days of listening to endless strings of confident men and swindlers would come to an end, marking the start of a new chapter in his life.
That's it for this video, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you will never miss the upcoming continuation of Tensura spoiler video series. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to the top 10 commenters on my previous video. Shout out to Luke Develux, Mazen Zold, Ashley Lobo, Agent KRL, Hashira of Nothing, Walter OB, Tempest, Hamza RD3, Tiller OG, Carl A, Delquin Alberry, Jeans Gaming, Emmanuel Arnoor, Assassin 139, Ral the Great, and last but not the least, shout out to Lloyd Luardo. I'll see you guys in the next video.